and that was when we were swarmed by hundreds of Antifa militants. And I'll only correct one thing in the reporting of your story. They weren't throwing water balloons. They were throwing water balloons filled with urine at Christians who stood in the park and were assaulted for the high crime of worshiping Jesus in a public space. So that happened on Saturday, and then the mayor followed it up. An hour after that event ended, police officers were hospitalized, good church people were injured. He followed that up with a press statement blaming the church for the violence and saying that we are advocating values that are antithetical to Seattle's values.
So they threw water balloons filled with urine at Christians. The Seattle mayor came out and said Christians have a problem, right? That he's biracial. He is now saying he will no longer give permits to Christians to exercise their freedom of speech in Seattle.
Bruce Harrell, their voices are amplified by liberal news outlets like the Seattle Times, and in doing so, it creates a perfect storm that results in violence against people of faith, police officers, and others. And so after the mayor put out his statement and blamed us for the violence, I said we're taking the rally to the front steps of City Hall.
Riddle me this. How did every single one of the protesters that assaulted police officers, children, threw urine at people, physically assaulted innocent bystanders, every single one of them was let out of jail on their own recognizance, which means no bond. They just let them out of jail.
And that's exactly what we did on Tuesday. And similar things happened. Antifa was out in force. They bloodied and beat up good church people who stood in line to try to get into a rally to sing hymns and worship songs and pray for the direction of the city. And the mayor put out a second statement, even worse than the first. And he said, well, the only reason you're rallying at City Hall is because you are opposed to the idea that I am biracial.
There was a mass shooting by a young man that's in the Navy. He shot 11 people over Memorial Day weekend, and it was hidden from Americans because...
Ask them what was the biggest threat. Ask them, was it white supremacy? Oh, or maybe this young man, he was the black face of white supremacy, trying to get rid of other black folks because he's pretty much wearing, you know, he's a black man, but he only black in skin, but he ain't kinfolk, huh? Is he doing the work of the white supremacists and the white racist people? Is that what he's doing? Is because he got white privilege within him? Is that the reason why he shot these other black folks? Y'all gonna find any rhyme or reason to blame it on somebody else other than this dude is a lunatic.
He was black.
So you guys just heard this story right here of this young man doing this. Blacks shooting blacks. And now you got somebody black reporting on how crazy it is that blacks are shooting blacks in this mass shooting. And watch who gets pissed off at this black reporting on black crime. It's going to be blacks. Freaking crazy, strange, deceitful, spiritual, wicked type cancer that is embedded in a lot of your brains. How do you expect the community to get fixed if nobody's calling out the BS that the community is doing? Huh? How do you expect it to be fixed? Huh? How do you expect to expose the dangers of black people without calling out who is the biggest danger to black people? Huh? Freaking idiots.
The terrorist attack that happened in Colorado yesterday, the news media originally came out with, it's a white man. No, it's an illegal alien that came here on a work visa from Egypt. He's Egyptian. And that work visa expired at the beginning of 2023, but he's still been in America since then. If somebody tells you to be afraid of a kitten, that kittens are literally going to chew your face off, people begin to be afraid of kittens, right? You don't have to have any proof. You just have to hear it enough times for you to begin to believe it. That is what's happening in America. Right now, there's a narrative being perpetuated that Christians are not tolerable, that we are not loving people, that calling out sin is harmful, that white conservatives, black conservatives, we are dangerous. We should be, watched. The ATF should not give us weapons. Folks, let me tell you something. If we together do not begin to call out the hypocrisy and the sin, what type of America are you leaving your children? Hear me out. Even if you're not a Christian, what type of country are you leaving for your children and your grandchildren? So, true story time. I just found out in my community, it is the school board that is going after our new sheriff. You heard me right. When he first became sheriff, they did a drug bust at the high school, right? They brought the dogs up there. Guess what they didn't find? Any drugs or illegal weapons where the students were concerned. But they did where the teachers were concerned. So now the school board has a policy where they don't want our sheriff or any sheriff deputies on school grounds, and they're claiming that this Democrat white sheriff is KKK in a predominantly black community. Look, folks, if you've watched me for any amount of time, you know that Sam comes with receipts, right? It's not just my opinion and my common sense that people love. It's the fact that I'm good at research and I can back up my words. So let me tell you what happened in 2023 before the new sheriff went. Clay Schutz, our new sheriff, became sheriff of St. Helena Parish. There was a school shooting. The same superintendent that now is claiming she doesn't want sheriff deputies on school campuses. And let me stop right here and tell you that what I'm fixing to say next is what I'm hearing off the streets. It's the coconut vine. It's the gossip. I've not actually heard the superintendent say out of her own mouth that she doesn't want deputies on school parish campuses. It's just what's being told to the parents. So that way they can't sue me for, making up stories about the little superintendent. I'm just telling you guys what I'm hearing on the streets. Is the same superintendent that said this after a school shooting. You're welcome.
Superintendent Dr. Kelly Joseph led an emotional press conference days after a deadly shooting at St. Helena College and Charter Academy. Big piece of information leaders told us is that the school does not have a school resource officer on campus. Dr. Joseph says they had to rely on a panic button to notify police and other teachers to respond in the immediate moments after the shooting. The superintendent now plans to explore the possibility of adding an SRO at the school.
We are absolutely working on that. It would be, I believe, to our best interest if we did have one. But like I said, we're going to work with the sheriff's department to definitely work.
So we get a new sheriff. We finally, in 2024, at the end of the year, find out we have grant money in the parish to hire an SRO officer. The new sheriff, the white sheriff, hires an officer. Within a couple of months, the school board kicks him out. Supposedly, he causes panic.
As Dupley came on board last August, the district has been searching for funds for a resource officer for a while now, especially after a shooting in 2023 that left a student dead. This school year, a state safety grant paved the way for that goal, leading to Dupley's hiring.
We wanted to make sure that we had, systems in place to ensure that our kids are safe during the school day.
Some educators we spoke to say instead, the deputy caused panic.
He chased one of the learners in the class and was hollering at her.
Yeah. So what did the sheriff do? Sheriff Schutz? He has the man take a polygraph test.
Sheriff Clay Schutz says he has doubts. He says Dupley passed a lie detector test about this incident.
And I specifically asked them, did he threaten to arrest her? They said, nope, not according to the polygraph test. Did he threaten to incarcerate her? Nope. Did he threaten to take the hoodie off of her? No, didn't do any of that.
When I showed him the email, he suggested everyone involved do the same.
She tried to get her hoodie back from the SRO?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, how about we do this? How about we get those people in and they take a polygraph
We're going to respect each other in here.
Last November, a heated school board meeting announced that Dupley was being removed from classrooms, the hoodie incident, and others
She was crying, leaning against the wall.
were referenced.
And he passes it. But the school board won't stop. The teachers won't stop. Oh, this man's horrible. I guarantee you they called him racist and everything else because that's their go-to, right? So the new Sheriff Shute, says, well, everybody should take a polygraph test. That's fair. Let's do a polygraph test for the school board attendants, the superintendent, the teachers, and all the students that claim this man did whatever you're saying he's going to do. So now the school board has a smear campaign out on the sheriff. They're trying to remove him by saying that he's racist and in the KKK. Folks, people should be arrested for spreading that kind of misinformation. That's how people get shot and killed, by people who can't think for themselves. Yeah, I did say that. That's all I'm going to say about it. I live out here, I know. So, having said that, my godchild's grandmother, who is a very good friend of me, and also the one who warned me that there was a target on my back for pushing back against trying to get rid of our new sheriff. I'm a Republican, but I still voted for the best person for the job because that's called smart voting, right? Thugs, the organized crime in my community, put a target on my back. We go to up our game in weaponry and find out that the ATF won't let my husband get a gun. So the same sheriff they all hate is now trying to check into and see what's going on while my husband can't get this that we desperately need, right, for home security. All this is going on, and she tells me that for summer school for my godchild who needs speech, he has to do it online in a community that is the second most impoverished community in the state of Louisiana. Let me repeat that. The second most impoverished community in the state of Louisiana, which is 49th out of 50 on the poor scale. Can I get an amen? So she calls me, she stops by. She calls me, we can't really hear each other because there's no service out here. She pulls up at like 10 o'clock last night. She's like, I don't know what to do. They're telling me I have to have a laptop and Wi-Fi for this baby to do speech 3 times a week, that they're not going to let him come to the school for summer school. I'm like, I don't even think that's legal. Like, I was an educator, a special ed educator. I'm pretty sure they can't get away with that. But things have changed quite a bit since I taught in a public school. And COVID allowed schools to get away with, absolute nonsense. So Stephen came home for lunch and he's like, Samantha, we're going to have to get a laptop for this baby. There's no way she can afford that. It cost me $89 a month for subpar Wi-Fi in my community. When President Trump went out of his first term, I was only paying $25 a month. Then Congress decided they didn't want to allow rural communities to have the high-speed internet connection grant anymore. They canceled it, gave VP Kamala Harris a few $billion, and not one business or one household has ever been given internet from her little program she had running. Yeah, that is a true story. I have videos on it. So here I am paying $89 a month for subpar internet. Now I have a laptop, but it's a business laptop. I'm not letting a 6-year-old on it. Sam doesn't roll like that. I don't allow kids on electronics. So I have all this. Why would you be inside? I'm not inside. You're not inside. That's how we roll at Auntie Sam's house, okay? So here is my thing. I now have to come up with money. I don't have to. I want to help get this baby a laptop so that he can come here 3 times a week and do, his online schooling. But I think this is ridiculous. This is public education. I pay taxes for this. This is St. Helena Parish, Louisiana, if you're curious and you'd like to call and complain. You're going to force children who are in poverty, who are basically, he is in state care, all right? Right, this child is in state care. And you're forcing the person that cares for him to figure out a way to get him in front of a computer for speech. Speech should be face to face. That's how you do speech, how you correct speech. It needs to be face to face. So if you were ever going to row with us, again, like I say it all the time, but if you really do want to row with us, today'd be a great day because Sam has to go shopping tonight because my baby's going to get these speech classes. I know, a lot of people love to call me racist. Oh, she hates the black community. No, actually, I love them. I love them. I love my community. I grow food. I'm out here sweating to grow food to give it away for free to people who probably want to off me. At least that's what I was told by people in their community. But that's okay because I'm going to keep loving, right? I'm going to keep rowing, folks. I'm going to stink and row until either my boat sinks or it becomes a yacht and more people climb in and we make a bigger and bigger difference in this world. It's hard to wear glasses when they slide down your nose because you sweat so much. Yeah. So, look in the top of comments if you'd like to help me get my baby a laptop. I'm not getting anything expensive. I'm only going to spend a couple $100. But without YouTube paying me for 3 months and living on one income, that does hit hard. Like I have other bills, like I still got to pay 2 more book payments. Still fighting with them about that. I love you guys so much. Be blessed. Be better than the people that hate all of us.